Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Stoveside Chats. It's Wednesday afternoon. Got a good interview today with my friend Heidi Bilotto of Heidi Bilotto Foods. She's based out of Charlotte, but is all over the state doing all kinds of cool stuff. So we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. Hey to everybody who's waving in. Alla Bravo Hot Sauce, Jimmy Broughton, thank you. Good to see all you guys. Thanks for joining us. Katie Clemens, appreciate it. A lot of waving. Thank you guys. So next week we're going to have on the show Chef Henry Warren Lewis of Chef Warren's Bistro in Southern Pines. It's a great restaurant. It's been there for a long time. Can't wait to talk to him. I've known Chef for a while. So that'll be a good conversation. Just waiting on Heidi to join us. Let's see. I had a question the other day. Somebody asked where I do these interviews. I'm actually in my kitchen. My wife and I live in Sanford, North Carolina, actually right outside of Sanford, in a little community called Pocket. So when I leave my community, I always tell people that I'm out of pocket. That's my corny joke for the day. All right, here's Heidi. So I'm going to bring her into the All right, Heidi, just say you declined. What's up? Oh, wait. All right. You should be here in just a second.
Yay.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I tapped on your handle and it said you declined. I'm like, man, I guess you don't want to talk to me.
I didn't like the joke.
Hey, that's dedicated to your husband, Tom.
So he would love it. I loved it too. It was great. It's very funny. Out of pocket.
Tom and I both love corny jokes. So
yeah.
Heidi, thanks for being here. For those watching, this is Heidi Bilotto. She does everything. I don't know how you keep up with it all, but let's see. Tell me if I leave anything out. TV appearances, radio appearances, blogs, other social media posts, cooking classes, freelance writing, you do food and travel writing. What else? Did I miss anything?
You got it. But I freelance. So I do a little bit of everything, which is really a lovely way to have a career. It all kind of comes together, but it all centers now really around ways to and places to eat and drink locally. That's sort of become my little niche, and I love it. It's great. So many cool stories to tell.
There really is. Well, before we get into those stories, tell us about your story. How did you get involved with cooking, and what about where you are today?
Of course. Well, I started. I've always loved to cook. Always. When I was a little girl, I used to watch Julia Child when that was really the only cooking show on TV, and I would. It's sort of a long story, but I would. In our bathroom, my brother and I shared a bathroom in our house, and there was a low mirror that we could see in at the time when we were young, and we had a long counter, and I would go in there and take all these little bowls and pots and pans and set them up on the counter and pretend to be Julia Child, and in my very best Julia Child voice would say, and you had this and that and look at myself in the mirror, and I would play, I would play cook. And my parents, much to their credit, never told my brother and I that we wouldn't like anything. They would take us to restaurants and they would let us order whatever we wanted as long as we would taste it. So really early on, we grew up eating like, duck. And the very first big thing I ever cooked was escargot. And after I got through my Betty Crocker cookbook of meatloaf sandwiches and stuff like that, but there came a point in time when my parents said, okay, now, one day a week in the summer, I guess was how it started. We each got a night to cook dinner. And so we could do anything we wanted. And that, I think that my parents never put a stipulation on us and said, no, you're not going to like that, or we're not going to like that. Nobody ever said that to us. So we really could try. And it made us into adventurous eaters with an interest in food. And that's how I got started. And then I left. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I came to North Carolina to go to college. So I went to Queens College, now Queens University in Charlotte, and I've just stayed here since I graduated. I have a degree in early childhood education, which is, I am convinced, is why I can teach adults how to cook, and because I can make things easy and break it down, and you know, kids aren't afraid. If you tell a kid just flip the omelet out of a pan, they'll do it. There's just no question asked. Adults get a little bit more timid. So I like to try to make things easy for people. And now, as I said, I have a real, and as you know, a huge focus on local food.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this really briefly, you knew Colonel Sanders.
I did. I
Cool.
did. If you go to my blog, there's a place where there's a picture of it. I'll post another one on social media. But my dad owned a Kentucky. My dad was an attorney, and in fact, today would have been his birthday. So happy birthday to Ted Edidin. Um, and he was an attorney, but he soon bought into a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise when the Colonel still owned those stores. So this was in the 1960s, and the Colonel came to our house, and several times. And so I was a little girl, but yeah, I met him, and we have pictures, and I remember a lot about him. He was really good to my parents, and it's fun now when I have gone to Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises or met with people who now own them, whose parents perhaps remember those days before it became so corporate. It's fun to see all of that. So yeah, that also piqued my interest in cooking.
I bet, yeah. So, bring us up to where you are now. Now, I spoke about all the things that you do. Fill in some of those blanks and tell us about Heidi Bilotto Food.
Well, Heidi Bilotto Food is my blog, and it's really become my brand as I have freelanced and became a blogger and a writer. I refer to myself more as a writer than a blogger because I write for a lot of publications as well. I also do a lot of TV and some radio. Early on, I started cooking on the radio, which was really fun, and making all the sizzling sounds. And we had the mic, down low on what we were cooking. But so I love that. I have to say, I love being in front of a microphone and in front of people. I do a lot of videos on Facebook and Instagram. And now what's happened is I started the NCRLA, as you know, started in 2015, a project called the NCRLA Chef Showdown. And Lynn Minges with the NCRLA came to me and asked if I could help coordinate it. And I started it and I've hosted it every year and coordinated it every year, except this year, which we didn't have it. It was canceled, and hopefully we'll come back next year. Of course, the Department of Agriculture has been a big sponsor in that. And that event kind of helped me connect with more chefs across the state. So when I say that I am interested in local food and drink, it's not just local food and drink in Charlotte. It's kind of wherever I am. So certainly across the state of North Carolina, and when I travel to South Carolina as well. So now I write lots of one-day getaways right now, which I think people have an interest in terms of long-term, instead of long-term traveling. The one-day thing is just kind of more interesting. I think I just kind of lost you. Can you still see me?
I can. Your screen got a little darker, but I can still see you. That's better.
Yeah. Okay. The screen went dark for some reason. It's what happens when you're live. Hi, Spencer. How are you? Anyway, so I concentrate on that, and I write about a lot of local products and work a lot with the Department of Agriculture when I can. It's been different this year because so many things have been canceled, but farmers markets, gratefully, are still in progress. And so that's been my little getaway. Every Saturday I go to a market. I've talked about it. I've taken pictures, and with all the pivots and changes the markets have had to make and chefs have had to make, I've spent most of this quarter trying to share that information with people. And it's just such a good thing that farmers markets are still open, because farms don't stop for any pandemic or anything else. Farmers produce all year long. And so it's a great and I think very safe and healthy way to eat local.
Yeah.
to say nothing of all the local products that are produced. So that's what I do. So I write for my blog, which is HeidiBilottoFood.com. I send out a monthly email newsletter, sometimes more often than that, telling what I've been doing. So that's a fun thing to subscribe to get in touch with all those about those products. And I do travel and food roundups.
Cool. Now, I know that you're, like you said, you're in touch with a lot of chefs and farmers. Talk a little bit about what you've seen during COVID as far as how people have been pivoting and innovations that you've seen that are like, oh my gosh, wow.
It's been amazing. I think that chefs, a lot of people have made a lot of changes, and a lot of people have been unemployed. And my husband, Tom, and I have been two of them. Things just all sort of stopped. And when that happens, you have to kind of make your own reign. And that's what so many chefs and farmers have done. First of all, farmers, let's just talk about that for a second, went from selling at a stand at a farmer's market to developing online businesses. And so now with lots of farmers, even though some of those restrictions have lightened up a tad, you still have to wear masks to a farmer's market. You still can't touch the food. You need to ask what you want and they bag it up for you. So, it's hard to resist squeezing the peaches and the tomatoes, but farmers don't want you to do that anyway. So maybe that's a good thing.
Peaches, yeah.
But you can order online from almost every farmer at a farmer's market where you shop. So just ask about that. People should just ask about that. I know you know that, but you can, and then your order is waiting for you. So and I've spent a lot of time letting people know that if they don't feel comfortable being in a crowd or don't want to go to a market or don't want to wait a long time in a line where you're 6 feet apart. So now everything takes a little bit longer because there's just the distance thing. You can order ahead. And then most farmers or producers that are at local markets have a part of their booth where you can just come and pick up because you've already paid in advance online. So that is amazing that in a very short amount of time, farmers who are the most innovative people I know, truly, have just turned their businesses around. Chefs have done exactly the same thing. And for many people were closed right at the beginning. And now they're slowly opening up. A lot of people have changed their concepts. Kurt Shelby is one of them, not far from you in Southern Pines. So it used to be Kurt's Cucina. And remind me of the name again.
It's called Grinders and Gravy.
Grinders and Gravy. So
right.
Brilliant, just brilliant. And lots of chefs in Charlotte and Raleigh have done the same thing. Lots of them have now offered grocery items. So on all of a sudden came the concept of a Groceraunt. So you can go to, and the truth is, you probably could have done this anytime. Like if you needed butter and you went to a chef where you cooked with, shopped with, or went to eat with them a lot, and you said, "Can I buy a pound of butter from you?" I feel sure that chef would have done that. But now it's a thing. So now you can order groceries online from a lot of restaurants and markets. And not just grocery items, but meats and dairy and all of that. And it's just what those chefs are using. So it's all great stuff. And a lot of wholesalers like Fresh List in Charlotte and the Produce Box and Inland Seafood, all now are selling to consumers, and lots of them with delivery. So, or several pickup points. So all of that information is on my blog. I've tried to share that as I've learned about those. It's a great way to support our local community. And for chefs, they've gone above and beyond to do the Count on Me and See program, where that they've taken precautions. Chefs take precautions anyway. It's what they're about. Things are clean, things are sanitized, people are trained. And now it's all a little bit different because now you have to deal with a crowd that's always not so receptive. And I give chefs credit. Man, they have put up with a lot. So we as consumers all need to be a lot more patient and a lot more understanding. And if you don't want to go inside a restaurant, I always tell people now, you just go get takeout. It's okay. A car is just like a table at a restaurant. So they would love for you to come and patronize them, whether you get the takeout or dine inside or outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that restaurants have to operate at 50%, chefs and other owners are really trying to make their dining room bigger by including, your car, your home, take food with you. And to kind of dovetail what you said about farmers markets, there are still precautions in place to wear masks and, they can't really sample right now, but don't let those things hold you back. Like Heidi said, it's a great place to go. It's a safe place to go. Just be patient with these folks who are working really hard. And if you want these places to stay in business and be around, then wear your mask and be nice. So
That's
that's
right.
my PSA. That's my PSA for the day.
I totally agree. I would say be patient. That is the lesson we have all learned. You just need to be patient and be kind, and give everybody some grace.
That's exactly right. We just have a few more minutes, Heidi. Now you were talking about kind of covering points of interest for like day trips for people.
Yeah.
What are some cool places you've been to recently?
Well, I've been to several, and I have several online, lined up, ready to go. I've been to Greenwood, South Carolina, which is about a little bit hours away from Charlotte. In fact, I just posted an article about South Carolina boiled peanuts, and which I found at a farmer's market in Greenwood, which was great. It turned into a great story. It is South Carolina, boiled peanuts are the official snack food of the state of South Carolina. So we grow them in North Carolina too, and you'll start to see local peanuts popping up, and therefore boiled peanuts across the state of North Carolina as well. And then on Friday, I have actually one place in between. We took a day and a night trip to Oriental, South Carolina, which is at the coast in what's called the Inner Banks near New Bern. And I went there to go meet with the guys at Tidewater Grain Company, who I know you know well. These guys are doing the only North Carolina Carolina Gold rice right now, and they just have harvested. And I cannot wait to write and tell their story. But I went there and we drove through the rice fields, and it's just unbelievable. There's so much to tell. I'm really, really excited to share that with everybody. So stay tuned. And I know you interviewed Tommy Wheeler on this.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we interviewed Tommy, and actually, I'm going there Friday to do a little harvesting and take some pictures, and then
yay!
I'm going to stay overnight. Then Tommy and I are going to go fishing on Saturday. So I'm pretty excited about the rice and the fishing. Hopefully, we'll be able to catch something, cook it up, and serve it with some of the Carolina Gold rice. That's the goal anyway.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I want to hear all about it. Oh, I'm jealous now.
So
we got a place on Friday. I am going. Well, I'm going tomorrow. And a blog post will come out on Friday, is to Asheboro, which is called the heart of North Carolina. And lots of cool things happening there on Saturday. There's a tea with Seagrove Pottery Studio crawl. So people can go and visit all these local pottery studios. Seagrove is the pottery capital of North Carolina, certainly, and probably of the Southeast. There are about 100 potters there. And lots of cool things. I'm going to go to a peach farm while I'm there that's doing pick your own, and talk about making some changes there. They've had to do some work, but it'll all be on my blog post on Friday. So in time for people to go this weekend if they want to. Lots of hiking trails. I always try to center on what to do for if you're a family, and what to do if you're a couple or just more of an adult trip. And then I talk about local product in that area. So, of course, I'm back and forth to Asheville a lot, and there's so many great Got to BNC products there, and I write about lots of those. And so that's kind of what's on tap for me. Some at the coast. I am starting to make some more trips. That stopped totally for several months, and now I'm doing that cautiously, but staying at places I know are doing a good job. And because I think people need some help with some tips on where to go and what to do. I'm also going to do a series of staycation posts for people in the Charlotte area. So it's fun to have all that lined up again.
Yeah. Speaking of Tidewater Grain, Tommy from Tidewater Grain just waved in. Hey, bud, how you doing?
Hey, Tommy, How are you?
Well, Heidi, thank you so much for being here. You guys check out Heidi Bilotto Foods. Thank you for all you do, and as far as highlighting North Pine ingredients. And I mean, you've connected a lot of people with each other to help build that network of farmers and fishermen and chefs and that sort of thing. So thank you very much for joining us, and I will talk to you soon.
Well, Chad, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be included with this group of people, and always fun to see you. And have a great time fishing this weekend.
I'll do that. Tell Tom I said hey.
I'll do it. Same to Michelle. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you for joining us. That was Heidi Bilotto. She is awesome. She does a lot of good work all over the state. And again, I think she knows almost every farmer and chef in the state. So that's my kind of people for sure. Join us next week. We're going to have Chef Warren on from Chef Warren's Bistro in Southern Pines. That'll be a good one. All right. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thank you.